When life gets difficult and we get overwhelmed, we all respond with our own primary coping style. The coping style is partly our personality and partly life experiences. Some of us that were raised in dysfunctional homes have actually learned survival skills in order to survive in those environments. Here are some of the basic coping styles. First of all, rager. Ragers respond to everything by getting angry. They're easily upset. They rage and they yell. They don't take time to talk about it. They're most comfortable with just blowing up. The runner. Runners are those that use activity to avoid having to feel or deal with a problem. It could be an addiction. It could be workaholism. It could just be staying constantly busy so that they don't have to process the feelings. The next one is the denier. Deniers refuse to admit that anything is even wrong or that anything happened. They may actually refuse to admit it to themselves, or they may just refuse to discuss it with you. The next thing is a pessimist. Pessimists, everything that happens is to them negative. The outcome is going to be negative. They always view everything in the most extreme light that is possible. They tend to easily despair over things and get depressed. Victim. A victim feels instantly victimized by life, by people, by things that happen to them. They instantly will go to that place of why me, and they live in a place of helplessness and hopelessness. The next thing is the fixer. The fixer is a person that instantly jumps in and has a plan. The plan to fix the problem. The one thing with this coping style is that they have a plan that includes what other people should do. So they're always kind of pushing their plan onto other people and causing other people to have to try to adapt to what they want, which usually doesn't work. The next one is the worrier. The worrier responds to everything with fear. They worry, they feel fearful, and they always are looking at the negative and projecting doom and gloom. They're unable to constructively take courageous steps or the necessary steps to deal with it because they just stay in that place of worry. The optimizer. The optimizer is somebody who's always thinking positive. They're thinking, this is great, it's going to be fine. But the problem is they don't often really talk about the fact that sometimes things aren't so perfect and aren't so great. So they tend to minimize anything that's negative. The next one is the blamer. Blamers blame everything on other people. It's never their fault. It's never anything they did. It couldn't be them. They just refuse to look at themselves no matter what happens. They're just not a part of the problem. And they have a tendency to instead use their finger to point to other people and other things. The next one is the withdrawer. The withdrawer, when something bad happens, just pulls away, shuts down, gets quiet, stays by themselves. They will look like they're avoiding and not dealing with it, but they may in fact be processing things, but they actually have to do it away from the relationship. Okay, so we've got all these different coping styles. That's great. But in relationships, it doesn't always work so great because we tend to be kind of rigidly fixed in our coping styles, and other people tend to be fixed in theirs. So what we have a tendency to do in relationship is to feel that the other person is not understanding us, is not supporting us, when in fact they're just handling things with their own coping style. So the best thing to do is to realize that we each have primary coping styles. If you can take the main people in your life, identify your own coping style, identify theirs, recognize when they use theirs, it's not that they're not supporting you or that they don't understand. That's how they process things. Maybe even have a dialogue about what your primary coping styles are and how you interpret each other differently and negatively, and how you can instead support each other and come together. Coping styles matter, and if you look at them and understand them in a relationship, it can actually be a key to detaching from the things that upset you and supporting and understanding the other person.